Hello and welcome to Centurion's Corner, and today we are reviewing from the Lighting Collection line the Power Rangers crossover with Street Fighter, Morphed Ken Soaring Falcon Ranger. Could you get anything more packed with awesomeness from this guy? From Street Fighter, crossing over with the Mighty Morphins, and Ken is my most favourite character from the game. And yeah, I couldn't wait to get this guy. There is Cammy out there from this wave. There's only 2 figures, but Cammy just looks a little bit off for me. The colours look a bit strange. So if she goes down in price, then I might give over my little pretty pennies. But for now, I won't. I'll just pick up this guy. So in the box here, we've got Ken up here, which is a bit strange taking it from the newer game. I kind of rather Ken up the top here in his traditional red gi outfit, that was for sure. Looking pretty cool here with his punching forward here. On this side, we've got Morphed Ken Soaring Ranger and that picture once again from the game, and on this side we've got the Falcon Ranger doing a nice sort of, I guess, a hurricane kick. On the back we've got Ken once again with the actual illustration of the figure, and again up here in his computer rendering with all his kind of effects and accessories. So I guess without further ado, let's crack this bad boy open. So here he is in his little tray. It's actually filled up quite nicely, so I think he's got quite a lot of power effects here and stuff. And we've got Ken just tucked up in this corner. So we just pull him out for our first impressions. And either over on the paper here, we have got pictures of Cammy and other Street Fighter illustration parts as well, which is quite nice. So we just pull this guy out. And look at that. He looks absolutely great. I love the gold and the red on this guy. And yeah, can't wait to team him up with Ryu. So I guess we'll go off and put it through his paces, and we'll see you in a mo. So welcome back. We've been away, we are taking these pictures, and what can I say about this figure? Well, straight away, this guy just won it for me in looks. This guy looks incredible. He looks fantastic. I really do like him, and I think it's definitely the best ones out of the 3 that I've have. So yeah, really cool. So he comes with quite a few accessories. I mean, most of them are effects, unfortunately. Is it worth that extra price point? Not really. I would rather extra hands. I would rather extra other bits as well. But yeah, this is what we got. So we got this one here. It's kind of like a sweeping around punch, you know, so he's punching really fast, or he's doing his shuriken and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's okay, it's what it is, but it's really hard to push his hand inside there, and because of the weight of the plastic as well, it kind of really weighs down on the figure itself. Would I rather it being easier? Yes. I mean, I would like it to be a bit of a made of a jellier kind of squidgy plastic. This one is really kind of, I mean, it's like rock hard. It's really hard. So even trying to put his hand in there, it is a bit of a kind of a push. And sometimes it might be easier to actually put in the open palmed hand rather than the fisted hand. It doesn't really matter once it's inside, but yeah, it is quite annoying to put on. The other one looks very similar, especially in design as well, which is a shame. This one here is actually for his leg, so to do his sort of like a maybe hurricane kick, or just sweeping around doing a kind of roundhouse. And that fits in okay. As you can see, it fits onto the stand up in this sort of peg system, and it can sort of go around on the ball joint on that way as well. So it's okay. Again, it's just more sweeping effects that I don't really use at all for these figures. And this comes on the stand the same as Chun-Li and Ryu did. It just feels a little bit flimsy in places. I think at a time it will get stress marks in certain areas and start bending, and I wish this actually like clipped into place as well, because it just sits in there. I kind of want it, and it's not going to move, you know. I don't want it to come out, but it's got a few peg parts on here, so at least we've got a stand for the actual figure itself if you wanted to put him in some sort of Street Fighter kind of poses, which isn't too bad. We can actually pop this one off, and as you can see, there's the ball joint, and then we can actually put this on there, just like so. So this is obviously like the Falcon Ranger. I guess when he does a Hadouken, he can shoot out a flaming falcon as well. And it looks really cool. Got this kind of like extra details there where it's spiraling out, putting some light behind it, sort of like makes it glow. And then you can see the extra details in there for the falcon. But yeah, there's a kind of little stud bit there for his eyeball. But yeah, it's okay. Will I be using it? Probably not, which is just really annoying. We've got all these accessories that I'm not really wanting to use. So I kind of wish they put a weapon or something with it. So the other accessories that he has is an open palmed hand and a punching hand. Really nice in the black with the white fingertips. Looking pretty cool. So, and that's kind of it. What do I think about the accessories? Rubbish. I literally think absolutely useless. So for me, even though I really like the figure, it is an X. It is massively an X on that figure, because I would rather have some extra kind of looking sort of like hands, maybe with him doing his sort of like winning pose where he does like the victory kind of sign and stuff like that. Something like that. Or I know these guys could have an extra head. That would be lovely. Maybe there's something to do with the licensing. So I'm not going to sort of stress too much about having a masked head, especially if they couldn't get around to doing it. But yeah, come on, like just some extra hands or just smaller effects or anything like that. So yeah, that's what we got. So anyway, with that, well, let's just say, shall we rate it? It's going to be an X, massively X for the accessories there. Anyway, let's look at the guy. This guy actually comes with a pact of articulation, and with that we can turn left, he can turn right, he can sort of look down, and he can sort of look up. Not in a great thing, because obviously this gets in the way, but you have to kind of sort of move it, and that's a lot like his accessories really. They do get in the way of his movement. Arm wise, got full rotation around. We've got a nice butterfly joint in there as well. Arm comes up to about this far. Rotation at the upper bicep. He's got a double elbow joint as well at the biceps here. There's no sort of bracelet or bracer swivel around here, but we've got the rotation around his hand, and it is on a hinge as well. Left and right at the sort of diaphragm, and he can crunch down, he can crunch back as well, and then we've got a little crunch down here. But the actual crunch, I kept thinking, oh, there's something wrong. It's like an action feature. This is so sort of like rubbery and so tight to his body that when you actually crunch it, it just wants to spring back. So you have to kind of sort of move it down, because it just really wants to hold it in place. It is literally like an elastic band. So once you get it into place, he's fine. And then he will stay there. And the same with his back as well. It will just keep crunching, and you have to kind of sort of maneuver the belt out the way to really get into those places. But enough of that anyway. Leg wise, comes up this way. He has got a drop hip down here, which makes his leg a little bit too loose, to be honest with you. He can go forward, he can go back. We've got upper thigh rotation. We've got a double knee joint down here, pinless, blah, blah, blah. Rotation at the boot, and he's also got a rocker and a pivot at the ankle. And yeah, articulation wise, I'm happy with him. I can get him in all those poses that I really want him to be. Maybe this bit around here is a little bit hindered to get a really good sort of like Hadouken out of him. So you have to really kind of pose him properly in front of the camera, so he kind of looks like his hands are over the top of each other. But yeah, apart from that, he's really, really nice. So for that, for his articulation, it's definitely a tick. So going that, we actually go through his kind of looks of the figure, and the looks of the figure, man, like, wow, really cool, really like it. So he's like the Red Ranger, you know, very similar looking there. We've got the gold part coming over his head with like the hawk sort of beak there on his tip, with the eyes sticking through, looking quite cool. And then we've got these sort of extra sort of markings there, and it comes around the back. Single white underneath. Underneath you can see the white comes all the way down for the gi part, and then we've got the gold sort of like coming down embroidered into his legs, which is very similar to the Ryu figure, and I'll do a side by side comparison for that, with the belt with the gold tips as well. And then we've got the morpher there in place, looking quite nice. Going around, it's just all black. Hands are cool with the gold, and then down to the boots as well, and then down to the traditional sort of Power Ranger-esque kind of looking as well, the gold. And yeah, really nice. And we've got this sort of gold sort of, I don't know what they call it for the Power Rangers, but you know, that kind of sort of, I don't want to call it a bib, but some sort of like protection shield over the top of his body there. Looking quite nice, really nice sculpted on there. I kind of wish it had a better gold looking, nicer looking gold. But it's that kind of sort of cheap look on there, which is kind of what we kind of get used to these days. Looking at this side, I have to excuse the drilling in the background. It is the neighbours in the other apartment. But yeah, so looking at these guys, you can see the similarities in the sort of like the the sort of design coming through there, and on the morphers and on the belts and stuff as well. And we, you know, kind of wish this bit was probably more gold to fall in line with Ryu's as well. But the helmets, I just think this one looks really cool. I think Ryu's turned out quite small. I think he's one needed to be a little bit larger. Even though it still looks really nice, this one just wins it for me. And especially the flesh tone coming through as well. Looks pretty cool. I would kind of sort of like, I don't know. Like, I love the Ryu figure. I think it looks really cool and unique. But I kind of wish that they kind of looked similar. So, but Ken more as the base. I think he just works super well. Down on the boots, you can see they look very similar as well. His embroidery kind of carries on a little bit more, and this guy is completely, mainly plain on his legs. So with that, we've actually got the Red Ranger as well. We can bring in this guy. And if you ever really wanted to or wanted to see, we can actually just pop off this guy's head. Like so, and then we can pop off Ken's head as well, and then we can actually plug that onto the Red Ranger. Look how cool that looks. Look how cool it is. And if you wanted, you could put the gold kind of shield over his shoulders as well, if you really wanted to. But yeah, look at that. That looks really nice. I really need to get an upgraded helmet for this Red Ranger. It just looks awful, this one. But yeah, so taking that back off, plugging that back on. And what am I going to say about his looks? Well, obviously it is a tick. I've raved on it about it enough. And this guy, on his looks alone, has got through the review. For me, you know, the actual look, it's Street Fighter, it's Power Rangers, it's all crossed over. And you know me, I love crossing over brands and stuff like that. And yeah, for me, it is a gold figure. Just love it. The accessories are the massive downside of it. It would be like a figure of the year or a contender if those accessories were a lot better. But unfortunately, we haven't. And then we just got this guy as he is. And yeah, we just put a couple of side-by-sides before we say goodbye. So we got the Red Ranger here. We can just put him up on this side, you know, like so. We pop him over here. And we pop Ken up a little bit further. And we just bring in Ryu. Ryu is just a bit weird. I just, now looking and comparing him to Ken, he just looks a little bit kind of gangly or a bit thin. I'm not too sure what it is, but I think it works with that larger helmet. And then we've got Chun-Li as well, which we bring in. And she was a great looking figure as well, to be honest with you. I really like these. I'm still not too sure on Cammy. If she goes down in price, then potentially I might buy her. But I haven't even seen these. Once they've been and gone, I haven't seen them again. So maybe I won't even get the chance to get her. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of these guys. You can comment down below, subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram. You can join the channel for 99p or 99 cents, wherever you are in the world. And until next time, take care. And I'll see you soon. Bye!